Thanks for tuning in. Have a question? We are live in studio to answer your questions from the chat. This is Sideshow Con.
Hey everybody, we are here in the Sideshow Con booth and you are watching Sideshow Con Live. I'm Amy Chase and I'm here with sculptor Jorge Villar. We are going to get to introduce you guys to a couple of pieces that he worked on, something very brand new and something that we are excited to get some more insight about. So let's start off in the world of Court of the Dead. Jorge, let's take a closer look over here at this new piece. This is the Slaier, the Undying Blade premium format figure, brand new piece in our Court of the Dead collection. So first of all, fans are very excited to see this collection come back to life or afterlife, but where do you start in a project like this?
Perfect. In this project, I have the chance to work in a lot of areas. So I started to work in the kasa hat and started to create some details for the portrait. And then move up to the katana and the tanto sword. There's a lot of intricate details in the armor and, for example, the cloth. And then I move up to the base and create some hands and some creatures just like this dragon, and it was super cool to create all this kind of stuff because I love the lore behind the God of the Dead piece, and it was a super cool piece to work on.
It's beautiful, and as you said, you know, there's so much detail here, especially with the costuming being fully sculpted. A lot of Court of the Dead pieces can have the mixed media to them, but Court of the Dead is really rich in storytelling. So I want to know, for this character, a brand new character that fans haven't seen before, how much story is given to you when you start versus how much is being built as you are designing and sculpting this piece?
In this case, in particular, we have to try to design a lot of stuff because we have a lot of reference and inspiration from real-world assets, for example, the armor, the katana. But then we have to design and compare all that reference and designs to try to adapt to the Court of the Dead visual line. So it was a challenge itself, but it was a super fun challenge, and I enjoyed every part of that piece.
Oh, fabulous. Well, for fans who don't know this character just yet, Slaier is a new Flesh Faction assassin. You can see in the way that the Flesh Faction, changes and shapes and adapts. We've got this beautiful living tattoo. It's got some real cool, almost feudal Japan demon elements to it as well. You've got the Flesh Faction symbols on her belt and costume, and again, that crossing between the worlds. She's hell-bent on revenge on a demon who promised to kill her entire family, and the Queen of the Underworld really likes that ambition. Now, speaking of that tattoo, there is an alternate portrait. So how did you go about designing first her face that we see fully revealed, and then that demon mask where her tattoo is kind of climbing up?
Yes. Well, for example, for that kind of mask or portrait, I try to have a lot of inspiration from the Oni mask. The mask we all know, and we try to different designs and then merging with the skin to try to adapt to the Court of the Dead line and have that kind of flesh merging with the armor and all the parts just to create a whole new element itself. So it was super fun to work in that kind of area, for example, the Oni mask, because I love all that is related to the samurai war and the samurai lore. So I have a lot of reference and trying to play with that kind of style and lore. It was super cool to me, and I was super happy that this piece came to my hands.
I think it comes together so beautifully, and there are so many different textures and designs, not only on the costuming elements, but I'm curious because you've got kind of like a ghostly well here under the bridge. You've got the wooden textures. So how much reference do you collect for those things, and then how much do you kind of take your own style with the more horror elements of the piece?
Well, in this piece in particular, I have a lot of reference of samurai stuff, so it wasn't difficult for me. For example, the wood in particular, we have to go further in the investigation of reference because we need to try to figure out what kind of wood is in this war, and is it a dry wood, how the wood interact with another elements like the fire, or for example these hands, and it was like a huge investigation of reference and elements just to get to the right amount of details.
It's beautiful from head to toe. Of all the details on this piece, do you have a particular favorite?
Yeah.
That might be hard to ask, but
Yeah, I have a particular parts that I really love. For example, the katana. I love the katana and the tanto swords and all the details that are in the back, because we put a lot of times in those kind of details. I love working in that kind of weapons.
yes, especially the hilt of the katana has so much beautiful detail to it. These pieces are really designed with, the full 360 in mind. Even if something is on the back of her, like the tanto sword, it's not just a hidden detail. It's fully embellished. And this piece will have a light up feature. You'll be able to illuminate the ghostly hands at the bottom, as well as some elements of this dragon that is emerging from the bridge. This is a beautiful piece, and fans are getting to see it here alongside a few other Court of the Dead pieces that are in stock. We've got the Oathbreaker Strife and then Sheev the Pathfinder. Those are low stock alerts, so if you want to start building your Court of the Dead collection, pledge your allegiance to one of the factions, you can do that right now on our website, and you can RSVP to be notified. Or actually, I believe Slaier might be up for pre-order this week already, so you can add her to your Court of the Dead collection right now. But we're not done here, because you've also worked on some Marvel pieces.
Exactly.
So we're going to take a closer look at a brilliantly blinding Ghost Rider right here. This piece debuted at Sideshow Con last year and lit up the stage, quite literally. This is a massive piece. I mean, with the 21 inches tall, and it's about 24 inches deep there with the full explosive bike. Now, I think one of the biggest questions for this piece is, when you're sculpting a character that has a light up feature, are you thinking about how it's going to light up, or are you focused on designing the best version of it regardless of the features?
Yes, exactly. In this case in particular, I focus on design all the shapes that look awesome.
It does look awesome.
And trying to reach the best possible version of the bikes and all the general shapes and even the details. And then Kellan and the production team came out with this great idea of put a light up feature, and it came amazing. So props to the production team that really created an awesome job with this feature.
Yes, it's such a layered piece as well, because even without the light up feature, the paint team did a great job, highlighting the different aspects of the sculpt. Especially I'm thinking of the burned leather up here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because that's such a specific type of material to reference. So unlike the wood of a bridge, how do you get those kinds of inspirations for those kinds of unique materials?
Exactly. Well, my main source of inspiration, of course, is the comic book, and I try to read a lot of comic books just to understand the character aptitude and just try some composition designs. But there's a lot of source of inspiration, such as the movies and the TV series. For example, if it has a huge visual impact on me, it's a huge source of inspiration, and try to play with those details and create some burn leather and some burn parts of the bikes. It was taken from.
You had to build a lot of materials to destroy some of them as well. Now, I do want to talk about that bike, because this composition is incredible. I mean, it is so action-packed, and you have to, consider balancing the character on top of it. But talk to me a little bit about the bike, because that's not something that appears in every type of statue.
Yeah, the bike itself was a challenge, but it was a fun one, because when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of TV shows when they built a motorcycle from scratch.
Wow.
I sat in front of the TV just drawing all the details.
Wow.
When this project came to me, I knew exactly what I have to do to reach this kind of result.
That's so perfect. I mean, that's one of those things that as a kid you never imagined that would take you. But it is so amazing, and the balance of having the character leaping onto this flying piece. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about he's literally bursting out of hell. Yeah. So how did that kind of also affect the stance and the environment of the piece?
Yeah. We have an idea in mind to create a super dynamic composition. So we try to play with a lot of elements like the broken pavement and road, and we start to playing with some more liquid elements like lava and melted pavement, just to give an idea of the extreme hot that the bike is producing, like coming from hell.
Yeah, and even the intensity of the flame and the coloration. Again, one of those brilliant elements of the whole team working together with the production team and the light up feature, the paint team creating those values, and then again, you with the material composition and the detailing that goes into this sculpt. I think this is such a really cool piece. I think it's a triumph of teamwork, but also just making something that's completely badass and exciting. So this is actually available on our website right now. You can order that and see that at the link on your screen or side.show/con day 3. Jorge, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything you want to tell our collectors before we finish this segment?
Yes, please check these statues and the Slaier statue. We work with a bunch of sculptors, painting, and a whole production team, and it was really a team job, so props to all the team, and thank you so much for having me here, and I'm super grateful for this invitation.
It's so exciting to learn a little bit more about these pieces that make their way to collectors' homes. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about this Ghost Rider, we do have a quick video feature that shows you even more of the illumination and a 360 view of Jorge's amazing sculpt work. So we're going to toss it there, and then when we come back, we're going to continue our booth tour with some horror characters. So we'll be right back.
Thanks for joining us here at Sideshow Con. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you're notified whenever we release a brand new video. And now, back to the show.